Hi again and welcome back. This is Mr. A's Guide to Using Bandlab Part 2. If you've not seen the first video, this won't make much sense, so please make sure you've seen that already. And before I forget, I've not actually mentioned the save button up here in the top right corner, so if you've not saved your song yet, you probably should. You can change the file name by double clicking at the top here. So, when we left off, I had 3 tracks already started for my song. The first 2 tracks are drum machine tracks, which I created or edited using the editor you can see at the bottom of the screen here. And the third track is a loop track that uses a bass guitar loop that I found in the loops browser down here on the bottom right of the screen. The loops browser shows you the tempo and key for the loop on the right here, and you can see the key and tempo for your main song up at the top. In the last video, I showed you how to change the tempo of the loop to fit with your song, but today we're going to start with changing the key of the loop. I don't really want to get too technical here and start talking about musical keys and scales too much because I'm trying to keep things simple for the purposes of this video. But when I dragged my bass loop over from the browser into my song, the key for the song changed to fit with the key of the loop, which is now set to E minor. I actually want my song to be in the key of A minor to make the next bit of the video more straightforward. So here's my bass loop in its original key of E minor. If I now go up to the key for my main song, I can change it to A minor, and Bandlab will ask me if I want to transpose my bass loop to A minor. I simply click adjust, and after a few seconds of processing time, you can see the key of the song has changed to A minor at the top, and now here's my bass loop transposed. If I click undo in the top left corner here, you can hear it in E minor again, and see the key of the song has changed at the top. If I click redo, we're back in the key of A minor at the top with the altered loop. Pause now and change the key of your song to A minor. So, now we've changed the key to A minor at the top here, we're going to go over to the left and add another new track. This time we're going to add an instrument track so we can record our own loops using our computer keyboard and mouse. Once the instrument track is created, you can see what type of instruments you want, like piano, guitar, bass, strings, etc. And within each of these instrument packs, you can see variations on the instrument. So in the piano track, you can see accordion, church organ, grand piano, etc. I'm just going to leave mine on grand piano for now. Pause now and add an instrument track. So now we've added an instrument track, I'm going to click on that track and then click on the instrument browser in the bottom left corner. And you'll see my instruments pack pop up here along with the virtual piano at the bottom. Each note on my virtual piano can be clicked with my mouse, or I can use my computer keyboard to trigger the notes using the keys labelled as on the piano here. If you don't know already,
C is to the left of the 2 black keys.
So, if the musical note C is always to the left of the 2 black keys on my piano, then if I hit the Z key on my computer keyboard, I'll get the note C. So Z is C. If I hit the X key on my keyboard, it will play the note D. If I hit the C key, I'll get an E, etc, etc. I'm actually looking to find the musical note A as my song is in the key of A minor. So to trigger an A, I need to hit the N key on my keyboard. And I'm going to try and record an A minor chord, which is 3 notes, on my virtual piano for my song. Play a chord on the piano, I play the first note, which is A in this case, then I miss out the next note, which would be B, and I actually play the C with the A. Then I miss out the next note, which is the D, and I play the E, A, C, E, all together like this. I can hit all of the notes at the same time, or I can play them one at a time, or I can use what I call the fingers thumb technique. Fingers thumb, fingers thumb, fingers thumb. For more on playing beginner keyboard, check out my Easy Keys playlist on YouTube. Anyway, pause now and play with the virtual piano. So now I'm just going to try and hit the A minor chord 4 times, holding down all 3 notes together for 4 beats to fit in with my song. Hit the record button, wait for my drums for 2 bars, and here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm holding down all 3 of my notes and counting to 4 each time I let go and try again. Okay, so the fact that computers need a bit of time to process information, and the fact that Bandlab is actually an online piece of software that relies heavily on the speed of my internet connection, we can now hear that the notes we played into the song don't actually sound properly in time with our other tracks, but we can easily fix that in the next part of the video. So for now, press pause and record yourself hitting the A minor chord 4 times for 4 beats. So hopefully you've now got some A minor chords recorded that probably sound a bit wobbly. Fear not, this is very easy to fix with the graphics score editor. Just double click on the track or hit the editor button down here in the bottom left and you'll see the notes you've just played, and you can scroll in and zoom a bit if you need to. As with the drum machine editor, you'll see a grid for all of your notes, but instead of each row of the grid representing a different drum like it did before, it now represents a different note on the piano, which you can see on the left here. You can shorten or lengthen your notes by dragging the endpoint. You can move them up and down if you want different notes, or you played the wrong notes by mistake. And most importantly, you can drag the start of each note so they line up with the grid lines. That way they'll sound properly in time with the rest of your song. If you really want to be precise, you can use the pencil tool on the left here to draw in notes one at a time. I'm just going to trim the start of my chords recording here by moving the cursor to bar 5 and then clicking on the split region at playhead button up here, so I can now delete the empty part of my recording off. So skip it back to the start, and here we go. Pause now and tidy up your chords. So I'm just going to loop my chords here some more. And now that I've got some drums, bass and chords, I'm finally going to add a melody track. So again, add new track, click software instrument, quickly rename the track here, click on the instruments browser down in the bottom left, and this time I'm going to choose the strings pack and I'm going to choose violin section. Now when I click on my virtual piano, I'll hear violins. And I'm going to record exactly the same way that I did before, using my computer keyboard to record some rough notes, which I'll then neaten up afterwards. Remember that the key of the song here is A minor, so I want to try and focus my melody around the A on the virtual piano, which in this case is the N key on my computer keyboard. Hit record, and let's see what happens, shall we? So I start on my main root note A, and I move around a bit, one note at a time, trying to repeat little phrases and finish back on the A at the end, which will make it sound finished. Again, it will sound a little wobbly and out of time, but we can fix that later. Pause now and record a melody. So again, a melody probably sounds a bit wobbly, and chances are there are some bum notes in there that we didn't mean to play. If this happens, just click on the note that you don't want and press delete on your computer keyboard so they go away. Again, I can grab the note and move the start point so that it lines up with my grid lines, and drag the end points to change the note length, or drag the note up and down to change the pitch of the note. Once I've got something that looks nice and neat, I can have a listen and tweak it as many times as I want. So pause now and tidy up your melody part. Again, if you've not clicked on the save button recently, I would recommend that you click save regularly, just in case the program crashes or you lose internet and you lose the work you've been working on. So I'm just going to trim up the end of my melody recording here and loop it a bit more. And I'm going to loop my other tracks so they all finish at the same time. Once you're happy you've got a good loop, you can go on and add as many tracks as you like, whether they're drum tracks, loop tracks, or software tracks. When you get to this kind of stage, you really want to put on some good headphones and decide where you want to pan your tracks. This is putting the sound to the left or the right speaker or somewhere in between. So for example, I'm going to put my violin melody on the left and put my piano chords on the right, just by clicking and dragging this little dial here to take your track to the left or right. Just drag it up or down. I don't usually pan 100% to the left or to the right because it's always good to have at least a little bit of your track coming through either side. I'm just going to leave my drum tracks and my bass loop set to the middle. If you want the volume or pan to change for each track as the song continues, you can click the automation button here and you'll see this line appear. You can click, and each time you click you'll add a dot which you can drag around to either bring your volume curve up or down, or you can change from volume to pan, and you can click again the little dots to drag to the left or the right if you make your dots go up to the top or down to the bottom. I don't actually want to do that, so I'm just going to click undo a few times and make that all go away. So pause now and pan your tracks. And finally, once you've created your tracks and tidied them up, loop them, set any pan or volume you might want to add, you can now add some extra effects to your tracks. Simply click on the track you want to add the effects, and then click on the effects browser down in the bottom left here and click this little arrow, and you'll see a wide array of effects that you can play with to alter the sound of your tracks. Most of the time we want to add a little reverb to our tracks to give them that slight echo effect, or you might want to add something like distortion to create a more fuzzy kind of sound, or perhaps something more unusual like chorus, modulation or phase to add a sweeping whooshing type effect. Anyway, there are plenty to play with. Do try to keep your effects subtle, as too much of one effect can ruin your track. I'm sure that's plenty to keep you going for this week. Do think back to when we listened to other people's songs at the start of the year and consider how you might vary the texture, dynamics, timbre, etc. of your song as it develops. That's all for this week, so have fun and as always, enjoy.